He's got his whole entire team has notebooks out taking notes on what I'm saying. I'm like, is this real right now? If I went the school route, I would be an intern grabbing these people coffees. And instead, bro, I got like 20 professionals, adults, that are scribbling down my every word, asking me incredibly insightful questions. Look at where I am.
Did you go to college at all?
Yeah, I went for a year and a half. I went to the University of Michigan. I was studying business at Ross, which was a joke.
How'd you get in?
I come from a family where like education is super important. My sister goes to Yale. She was valedictorian, like she was salutatorian. She was teacher's pet, and then there I was class clown. You know, teachers would be like, "What the fuck, Ali Brocato to Ollie Brocato?" My name's Oliver. People call me Ollie. They'd be like, "Ali Brocato to Oliver Brocato." They're like, "What the fuck is good, right?" But like, you know, I don't want to like toot my own horn here, but like, my dad's a fucking brilliant. My dad's brilliant.
What's he do?
He's in finance, corporate guy. My mom went to Harvard Business School. She's brilliant.
God damn. Pedigree right here. Yeah.
I mean, dude, when I told them that I was dropping out to sell sex chocolate, imagine. Yeah. Education is very important in my family. You know, that's a whole other story.
Where'd you grow up?
Westchester, New York.
New York, okay.
Yeah, so like 40 minutes outside Manhattan. Yeah. And, you know, I went to school. Freshman year was amazing, right? Like, it was during COVID too. So like I lived in a house with like 3 of my best friends. I was like developing tabs, but it wasn't that intensive, right? Because it was over such a long period of time, and there was a lot of like waiting. I don't know if you can resonate with that, but there's like a lot of waiting for stuff, right? Like we couldn't start photography until we got
like the
packaging, right? And we couldn't get the packaging until we get to the design, right? And so like it was spaced out over 11 months, but I wasn't like grinding on it day in, day out. It was like, you know, grind, and then it was like wait 2 weeks to get
starting
this
a process
back. And then like grind, and then it's like wait a month to get the sample. So like there's a lot of waiting. And you know, like, dude, it was a fucking, you know, it was a party, bro. Online class, which was a joke, pass fail. You know, living in a crib with like 3 of my best friends. I was dating this amazing girl. You know, life was a fairy tale. In fact, you know, that was probably some of like my happiest moments ever. I look back on that.
Why'd you decide to drop out then? The opportunity was bigger.
Well, then sophomore year happened, and you know, it was like real school, and you know, I was in this fraternity.
Did you feel like you were learning?
No. No.
That's
the biggest thing. No, I was not learning.
Any kid that's in college and your parents are saying go to school, get a degree, those parents did not grow up with the internet and where they could learn from the best people immediately.
Dude, it is so
out of date.
Bro, it is so sad.
And it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Dude, it is so sad to see like an architecture student like grind their face off for 4 years, and now there's like fucking AI, you know, that will like, you can literally say like, make 100 different schematics and give me like 40 different variations. In 3 seconds, their college degree is completely obsolete.
Were they teaching you Facebook ads or anything like that?
Fuck no. I took an e-commerce class, biggest joke in the world. I did the website project on my own company Tabs, and the professor gave me a B. He ran this like website called like Underground Printing. It is the most disgusting website I've ever seen in my life. It was like some like 2006 like Tumblr shit, and this guy's giving me a fucking B on my. I mean, like, I'm not arrogant, right? But it's just like, it was a joke. And school was a joke. In one of my Ross Business School classes, which was the second best undergraduate business school in the country, we were playing with Play-Doh, bro. I kid you not. You could not fail a class. The worst you can get in a Ross class was a B. So everybody would just get fucked up and drink and smoke.
That's
and, you know,
the college culture.
It's the college culture, and it's an all expense paid trip by your parents.
By the government, if not your parents.
You know, I was very fortunate where my parents were paying for my education, and they wanted to pay for my education. My parents fought me tooth and nail, you know, when I wanted to drop out. But you know, that wasn't my life. I was living in a fraternity house with kids that would, you know, pass a bong around, you know, 99% of their waking hours in a dimly lit room.
All my peers in college.
Sitting on a fucking couch in a dimly lit room, passing a bong around 24/7. Is that where I want to be? Is that inspiring? Is that like, are you kidding me, man? Like, I wanted to get out. I needed to break free. And you know, I was told by some of my friends, man, like some of my friends in my fraternity, you talk about business too much. You talk about working out too much. I mean, I got to get back into the gym because I put on a couple of pounds since then. But you know, I got told by some of my closest friends, Ollie, bro, like you talk about business too much. Like it's a little too much. Are you kidding me? Like, these are the people that I'm surrounding myself with. like, I feel bad because like my dad like has like this vision for college, right? Where like he's like an erudite, right? Where like, you go to school and you get inspired and you meet these amazing people and build this network and you learn and you grow. That's not what my college experience was.
Mine was the most depressing time period of my life. And I graduated. I went through all 4 years.
Fuck that.
But it's so conflicting because we are told our whole life the story. You go to school, you get a degree, and you get a good job, and that's success.
Right.
And so all these kids that are in that dark basement passing the bong around, thinking they're doing the right thing because they're listening to their parents, and that's the narrative. They're going to class, doing the bare minimum, getting good grades, and so they're hitting, like that was the validation that they're doing the right actions.
Right.
They're going to class, getting good grades. Now I can just smoke a bong and relax. When in reality, there's no translation that you actually like accumulated that knowledge if you have a degree.
Also, like, dude, you're in your most pivotal years, like
100%.
18 to 22.
Your brain's developing.
Spend 4 years on anything. Spend 4 years on a business. I promise you, you will be a millionaire by the end of those 4 years. You stick it through. You do those. Like, if you spent those 4 years as intensively, and you took that $250,000 in startup capital, you will be. I promise you will be a millionaire.
Infinite leverage with the internet.
The bank will give you a loan for a student loan, but they won't give you a loan to start your business. How does that make sense?
In my opinion, it is a huge scam, and it's really damaging to our culture because people are telling you the goal is to get a degree. The goal is not to get a degree. The goal is to get good at something, to become the best at one thing that you're interested in.
100%, and to be like a killer in that space. I had this aha moment, like a month after school. I was in Miami, right? And one of my buddies who runs this super cool design studio. It's called Our Bureau. Shout out Peter. And it's like this beautiful space, kind of like your space right here, man. Beautiful, like fancy, incredible, branded. The furniture, the vibe, it's immaculate. They have like 20 employees working behind these like cutting edge MacBooks. And he invites me to speak to his team about TikTok. Tells me he pays for my fucking Uber Black.
Yeah.
Wants to pay me like a couple $100 or whatever it was, couple $1,000 in a consulting for me to speak to his entire team. And I'm sitting there, I'm like 1 month out of college, being in a classroom, getting lectured by a fucking dinosaur, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm sitting here like. And he's got his whole entire team has notebooks out, taking notes on what I'm saying. And I'm like, is this real right now? I was like, if I went the school route, I would be an intern grabbing these people coffees. Mm-hmm. And instead, bro, I'm like sitting there like on this like, big chair, like this like kind of cushy chair, like I'm on a fucking throne, like I'm a king. And I got like 20 professionals, adults, that are scribbling down my every word, asking me incredibly insightful questions. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I went that route, I'd be grabbing them coffee. Mm-hmm. And instead, like, look at where I am. Like now I look at where I'm at. And I mean, in a non-douchey way, I look at my bank account, right? And it's surreal.
You deserve it though, because you found that motivation to learn by yourself and you were interested in it.
I don't even know if it's the motivation, because I think a lot of people have a similar motivation. I think it's like going against what society's telling you. Because I think a lot of people have the same motivation.
Contrarian, yeah.
I think like people are afraid to make that leap because everybody tells them that that's the wrong leap to make. When I told my mom and when I told my family that I was going to sell sex chocolate, they laughed in my face, and I don't blame them. Like I don't blame them.
It's a funny product.
Yeah, it is. When I told them like, yo, I'm going to sell $1 million worth of sex chocolate in my first 6 months, people were like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this kid? And then I did it. In my first year, I sold 4. This year I'm going to do over 10.
It's not encouraged. Like,
it's not encouraged.
I was lucky enough to have an entrepreneur father,
right.
And so I just see it firsthand every day. Right. And so obviously I had a more supportive system there.
Yeah.
My mom really wanted me to go to college.
Right.
And I just see that narrative every single day affect all of my peers thinking they're killing it.
Right.
Or I'm just like being eaten alive inside. Like, this can't be right. Like, this cannot be what.
Yo, so here's the thing. Like, my dad's very successful. My dad is super fucking smart. And when I grew up, I had a buddy. His name was Jack. His dad was a fucking multi-millionaire. And my dad and his dad were on the same level, like in terms of intelligence, in terms of professionalism, like if you measured them up, I would say it was pretty damn even. Maybe my dad was even smarter. This guy was a multi-millionaire. I'm talking Lamborghini, I'm talking McLaren, Rolls Royce, and like they were like my second family to me. And like I would go to their country club, I would go on vacations with them, I would go on their fucking, I'd go on a yacht with them. And I saw, like, I took it all in, and I saw like the only difference between Jack's dad and my dad is that my dad is a corporate employee that will never make X, like that will have a ceiling that will be capped out at X. But I saw, a fucking multi-millionaire. And there was only one difference. He owned his own business. My dad worked in the business. And I knew from a young age, I wanted to be like that guy.
That's so important. And I want anyone watching this that may be discounting him because you went to a nice school or you came from a nice family. There are so many of our friends who are doing nothing, like not making any money, have a lot of problems.
Well, dude, my dad doesn't make millions. Like I came from a nice family. I was definitely privileged, but like,
do not let that be an excuse to yourself. Like, oh, that's why he's successful. He took action. He grinded. He went against the grain and took a fuck ton of risk.
Right.
So huge props to you for what you did.
Like my parents were like, yo, if you don't fucking hit the books, we're going to take your business away, dude. Like it was the opposite. Like I was forced to go down the corporate path. Since I was fucking 14 years old, right? I was scared to go home if I got a B or a B plus. I was scared to face my parents' wrath.
That's the true privilege. People who are pointing you and motivating you, holding you accountable.
Right. I guess, sure. But I think that those are the wrong values. Instead of making it life or death to get an A plus on the quiz or test, they should be pushing you to start that side hustle.
Intrinsic, though.
They should be pushing you to learn that skill instead. Because at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck that you got an A in algebra 2. But like the kid that's like grinding on camera since
it's more habit forming, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But the kid that's like learning a skill at 14 and then like seeing that skill through, by the time he's 25, he could be like the next, Spielberg.
No, it's just interesting. Like the whole education system, technology's evolved so fast, and our parents are the one that we trust in guiding us through life. But again, they had to go to a library. Right. They had to go to a college to learn from someone who's the best at what they do. Now we can online, and we can use social media and AI. And so these people, even 10 years ago, it's a whole different world than what they came up in. And so it's so important that you're learning just firsthand and then trusting yourself that you have the right information and to take that leap.